Alright, kiddos, Mr. Solsberry here for the next word work lesson for the week. As we do every week, let's start by kind of looking at the words and pronouncing them and trying to look for different patterns. Now, right now I want you to kind of ignore looking at long, short vowels. We haven't even talked about short vowels yet, mostly long. Really the goal here is to try to find patterns in the syllables, okay? Now, once you've broken the word up into the syllables, then we're trying to find patterns of, okay, what does a long whatever vowel look like when it's in the first part of the syllable, or the first syllable, and what does it look like in the second part of the word, or the second syllable, because depending on what syllable it is going to determine which type of combination of letters we're going to use to make the letters long or short. Okay, and so for this week, I'm not even going to tell you what the actual thing is yet. I really want us to just kind of read the words aloud and break these up into syllables before we even start looking at long or short vowels. Okay, so we have Eastern. Okay, so Eastern, turn, Eastern. So that's a two-syllabic word, two syllables. Okay, we have repeat. Okay. 13, that's where the syllable is. Okay, and actually, because my hands are a little bit sweaty, let me move these out of the way and then I'll kind of bring them in so we can work with them. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Then we have 15, okay, teen, long, looks like there's a long E here, repeat, teen, eat, e. Looks like these are both long E's, although they're a little bit different. Okay. Then we have feature. Okay. Feature. Those are the two syllables. Have E. Okay. Complete, or compete. I'm sorry. Compete. Health. E, health, and then the Y for healthy. Extreme, okay, extreme. Okay, this one comes up a lot because, and I actually get these mixed up myself. I don't know if the other word's in here or not. It's not. I always, when I say this word, I have to stop myself and say, is it sweater or sweeter? And I do the same thing with the other word. Okay, the S-W-E-E-T-H, or T-E-R, okay? This is actually sweater, okay? So sweat, and then So notice that this is in the beginning, this is in the first syllable, and it actually makes a short E sound, okay, with that E-A. But if we look at this word, okay, you'll see that that E-A is now a long E, and the reason in the second syllable. Okay, eat, e, sweater. If this were in the second part of the word, the second syllable, it would actually be a long E sound. If it's in the front, okay, it's not. This is in the back, or it's in the second syllable, long E. Long E, long E, long E, long E. Look at this one, okay? This one's a little unique because feature. This one's a long E, okay? And this one's a short E, okay? So when do we know this one's sweater, this one's feature? See what's going on here? This is an F-E-A at the front in the first syllable. This is an S-W-E-A, the first syllable. This one's short, this one's long. Why? That's what we're going to talk more about, or hopefully you'll find out on your own. We have that's a short E, okay, features a long E, feet, E, long E at the back there, okay, then we have mean, ing, get that long E there, okay, then we have pleasant, okay, that's a short E there, okay. Look at long E, short E. Okay. Hopefully, you'll start to see patterns. we already have a pattern of an E and an A. But we know that that EA pattern is not really that helpful because this is meaning with a long E sound, okay? And this is pleasant with a short E sound. Now we haven't done the symbol for short vowels yet, but basically you do that same and then you do like a little U on top of it, which means it's short. So if you look at these two words, same letters, this one's short, this one's long. What's the difference between these two words? This is still in the first syllable, and this is in the first syllable. What else do you notice? I'm not going to answer the question because hopefully you can kind of come up with your own ideas of what you're noticing in terms of patterns, and you may or may not be right, and that's fine. That's what we're doing this for. Read, it's a long E, okay. Increase, freedom, stead E, okay, that's a short E. Indeed, and finally season, okay. And what you're going to notice is that this sort is a little different because it includes the short sound of E, okay. And the way that we're actually using the short sound of E, I have my dry erase marker. I can just do it on a piece of paper. I'll do it on here, okay. Is we're using the short E when we use these two letters together, okay. So an example of that would be like feather, okay. That makes a short E sound, okay, feather. Okay, if you look at a word like that, okay, you can see that it's in there still in leather, okay. Still you can see that it's leather, but you're going to notice, okay, that sometimes you can have this same A or EA in the first syllable and it not actually be long, okay. So an example of that would be season, okay, season. Well, we have that same EU here, but you can hear it C-E-E, hear the E sound. That's a long E, okay. And if you look at where it's broken up, season, feather, that, what I just did, is the key, okay. It's where, actually it's right here, it's where the syllable is, okay. So let me look at leather and let me look at season, okay. Those are the two we just looked at, okay. Now this is where, let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah. This is where all of the reasons that we're doing syllables for, okay. Sees, see, zun, okay. Here we have leather. Do you see on season where we have the E and the A, but then that's where the syllable is, where that's the first syllable and that's the second syllable, okay? Well, because the first syllable ends right at that E and that A, we make it a long E sound. When we look at leather, okay, we break the syllable way out here. So we have that EA, but then we have some consonants right here. And since that's not broken up right where that EA is, it makes a short E sound. So if, and this is not true, but if for some reason the leather actually had its syllable be right here, okay, that would become a long E sound. Hopefully now, it makes sense on why we've been spending so much time on breaking these words up in terms of their syllables. Okay, look at freedom. Is the syllable broken up next to those two vowels? Yes. Long E. Okay. These are in the second part of the syllables. Okay, we'll get back to that because the second part of the syllable, it's almost always going to become a long E sound. Okay, let's look at this one. Heavy. Look where it's broken up into the syllable. It's broken up between the V and the Y. If it were right here, this would be heavy. Just because of the symbolic change. It has nothing to do with the organization of the letters. It's where the syllable is. Okay, and so since this syllable is next to the V and the Y, okay, it's going to actually make the Y a long E sound. That you don't need to know. Okay, but those syllables make a big difference, okay, on being able to understand where certain words are long or potentially short. Okay, here, steady. If it was broken up right there, it'd be steedy. Okay, but that's not the way that we spell it. Now, what do you do when you have a word that you want to make it a long sound, but there's no possible way to break it up with the syllables, like with sweater? Okay? Let's say that I want to make this into sweeter. I can't just change where the syllables are. I can't just say, well, the syllable now is going to be moved to here, because you can't, it's still the same word, so you can't just mix the syllables up to the same word. Nobody would know which one you're talking about. So, the way that you can make a long E sound when we have the E and the A sound, where it's not broken up next to it, is to have a double E. Okay? Still, it's broken up right here, but that double E is going to make it long to where this EA with that T is going to make it short. Now, of course, this is something that throughout the week you're going to kind of be looking for in terms of patterns. All right, and so don't worry so much about recognizing or understanding every single little piece of it right now. Anytime that we're talking about things like this, it's all about practice. Okay, I mean, think about it. There's got to be a million words in the English language, and for you to potentially be frustrated or not understand some of the patterns of the words right away makes sense, right? I mean, if there's a million words, then why would anybody expect for you to be able to pick out these patterns after a 15-minute video with me? What I do is I plant the seed, okay? So I'm like a gardener. And today, what I'm doing is I'm planting the seed into your minds, and your minds are like the soil. But once I plant that seed into your mind, okay, you are responsible to take care of that seed and to make it grow. And so, as you know, with seeds, there needs to be sunlight, there needs to be water, there needs to be nutrients, and you need to take care of the plant, okay? I've given you the good seed, but throughout the week and when you do your actual word work in the classrooms, that's you giving it sun and giving it water and giving it soil, asking questions, talking to your teacher or coming and talking to me is growing that seed, because ultimately the dirt is your mind. And so what I don't want to do is I don't want to do anything but plant the seed into your minds, because if I were to do anything else, what I would be doing is planting it into my own mind. And so then what's be happening is that we'd be working together, and all I would be doing is growing the plant that is in my mind, and you'd be watching me grow my own plant. And then you leave with no knowledge of what we've been talking about on your own. So it's okay if you don't understand all of this right away, but I want you to just think about it this way. So every time you see a word, I want you to think, where's the syllables? What patterns do I see? And just focus on that for now. So what your sort's going to be is first syllable words, okay, where the E is long. You got to say it. Again, you can't look at letter patterns, okay, because you have feather and you have mean, where feather, okay, is an EA, and you say, oh, that's a short E, but mean has an EA and it's a long E, so you have to kind of not be looking at the patterns of the letters. We've got to go a little bit deeper. We need to look at the patterns of first. Let's look at the syllables, break up the syllables. We already did that together. Now look at the first syllable. Say the word, hear it. Is it a long E or short E? Depending on how you hear it, when it's been said, then you'll put these into the different parts. Okay, you can see there are no oddballs, so they all should fit somewhere. Do this real quick, and actually what I'll do is I'll just take a picture of what it looks like when it's finished, and that'll be underneath the video, and you can just open up the picture, because I could do another video of what it looks like, but honestly I probably won't talk a whole lot about it. I'll just say, okay, this is where it is. Now be careful. The reason that I'm showing you where everything falls is so that you can make the corrections yourself on yours. Okay, it almost be like if the word's spelled wrong in the dictionary and I use the dictionary to help me spell a word, then I'm going to misspell a word. And so if this is not organized properly, and then you come to look at this to help you with things that you're doing later this week, if this is wrong, then you're practicing it wrong. Okay? Take your time. Again, either say it out loud or say it in your head. You have to hear the E, ni, e, eedle,